Okay.
Well, hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy that you are with us on APS Stamp Chat. I'm going to let everybody file in a little bit, and you can go ahead and put it in present mode, Mr. Mcknight. Thank you. So happy that you're all joining us. We appreciate it.
Oops, hold on. Let me slide it over. Hold on.
Okay, and we are live, and our participants are rolling in. And we'll just give it a few more seconds. We appreciate your patience. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, hello and welcome. Bienvenidos a Stamp Chat from APS. My name is Heidi Rhodes. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We are pleased to be able to share both National Stamp Collecting Month and Hispanic Heritage Month together on today's Stamp Chat. Our guest is Mr. Clarence Mcknight. Mr. Mcknight has been an active philatelist for over 30 years. Over those years, he's been involved in ESPR, serving as board member, state director, graphic designer, Reflections newsletter editor, and currently he serves as webmaster. Mr. Mcknight, also known as Stamp Man, has hosted philatelic presentations and exhibits in schools, museums, corporations, libraries, and art galleries throughout the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Mcknight's exhibits focus on Black history, women's history, and Hispanic history. After 30 years in retail management, Clarence entered into retirement in 2018. In addition to taking care of his family and championing the power of stamps, Mr. Mcknight enjoys designing stamp posters and banners. Today's Stamp Chat is sponsored by APS Membership Department. This year, we launched the 2020 Challenge. Our goal is to share the hobby with over 2,000 new APS members. This ambitious goal requires all of us to accomplish it. We're so serious, we're offering 3 lifetime memberships as an incentive and a thank you. APS members are our best recruiters. You know exactly why membership in the American Philatelic Society is important and the great feeling of being a part of 134 years of fellowship in the hobby. Whether you're a beginning collector or have collected for years, we welcome you to join the American Philatelic Society and discover the many benefits of membership. Join now, stamps.org/join now. Now, before we begin, we have a few housekeeping items to take care of. Today's session is a webinar, and as such, all audio and video of attendees will be muted and turned off respectively throughout the presentation. However, please feel free to use the chat box to engage with other attendees and the Q&A box to share your questions, comments, thoughts with Mr. Mcknight. This session is being recorded and will be made available on the APS YouTube channel. Following the presentation, Mr. Mcknight, we will read to Mr. Mcknight the questions that we receive in the Q&A box. And with that, we present Hispanic Heritage on Stamps. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Mcknight. Thank you. You ready? Clarence, you ready to go?
Yes, on now.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Can you hear it?
No. No, is your volume up?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Mr. Mcknight went ahead and recorded his presentation, so we're waiting on the sound that should be behind it. Oh, Charlene says that you hear him, but do we hear Mr. Mcknight's presentation? Saludos, Felix. Hi. No, not yet. So we're
Deep. Here in the United States, we sometimes forget that the first permanent European settlers in North America spoke Spanish, not English. Despite our strong ties
there
to
we go,
Philippines,
Clarence.
the first European Can you hear me colony now? in the East Coast
Yes.
wasn't Great. Jamestown, Virginia, 1607, but San Miguel, founded along the Savannah River in Georgia in 1526. Although the Spanish settlement did not survive past its first year. And when the Pilgrims began building their homes in Plymouth in 1620, St. Augustine, Florida had been a settled community since 1565. And Santa Fe, New Mexico had been a thriving administrative center for 10 years, during what is now as the period of exploration 1692 to 1542. Approximately 300,000 Spaniards immigrated to the New World, establishing more than 300 cities and towns, acquiring more new territory for Spain than Rome had conquered in 500 years. National Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th. It celebrates the histories, cultures, and contribution of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. The day of September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Mexico and Chile celebrate their independence days on September 16th and 18th. Did you know that 60.6 million Hispanic live in the United States? The Hispanic population in the United States as of July 1st, 2019, making people of Hispanic origin the nation's largest ethnic and racial minority. Hispanic constitute 18.5% of the nation's total population. The number of states with population of a million or more Hispanic residents in 2019 are Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Texas. The first Hispanic American on the U.S. stamp was the $1 Admiral David Farragut. Admiral Farragut was the naval commander for the North during the Civil War. His success in capturing New Orleans in the Battle of Mobile earned him a place in history as one of America's most celebrated Civil War heroes. Hispanic Americans have contributed to national security and the overall development of the United States. Deeply committed to the principle of freedom, courageous Hispanic people have served with valor on the battlefield, with distinction on the home front for more than 2 centuries. My next few slides will speak about a few Hispanic American World War II heroes. Rudy Gonzalez was a Mexican American pilot in the Navy. He served on the naval ship USS Enterprise in the South Pacific. His plane was shot down by friendly fire during an attack on Pearl Harbor. He was one of the first casualties of World War II. Dr. Hector P. Garcia, when he enlisted in the Army, they put him in the infantry. Normally, when entering the military as a doctor, you receive a rank of captain. They didn't believe a Mexican can become a medical doctor. Before shipping off to North Africa, they asked him, Was he really a doctor? He became one of the first Mexican-American surgeons in the military. Staff Sergeant Macario Garcia was the first Mexican immigrant to receive the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest military decoration. He received the award for his heroic action as a soldier during World War II in Germany. He was shot in the shoulder and foot, but continued fighting. He destroyed 2 machine guns nests. This allowed his 2 companies to charge the hill and take it over. When he came home, he wasn't accepted as a hero because he was Mexican. He was refused service at a restaurant in his town. It made national news. President Truman heard about it. He contacted the local authorities there, and they took some action. Guy Lombardo served in the military in the South Pacific during World War II at the age of 18. He captured over 1,300 prisoners by himself. He learned Japanese from his adopted family. While his group was setting up observation posts, Guy left the post without approval of his commander officer and captured 11 Japanese on his first trip. His commander reprimanded him and told him, "Don't go out again." He left anyway and captured more prisoners. Each time he convinced the Japanese soldier he had 100 or more American soldiers behind him, but he was by himself. After a third time, his commander gave up reprimanding Guy. He was awarded the Navy Cross and Purple Heart. They made a movie about his heroic actions in the South Pacific, a movie called Hell to Eternity. His role was played by a white actor. Padre Felix Ferrara quickly distinguished himself as a great educator. Born in Havana, Cuba in 1788. During his professional career, Ferrara did something considered strange for that time. He taught and defended the principle of giving women the same education as men. Best known for her striking self-portraits, Mexican painter Frida Kahlo was influenced by pre-Columbian art, Mexican folk art. Her works embodied the pride of Mexico's national patriotic movement, called a Mexicana, which paused throughout the country following the Mexican Revolution of the early 21st century. Juan Rodriguez Caballo led the first European expedition to the shores of what is now called the state of California. Little is known about Caballo's early years. Some biographers describe him as being born in Portugal, but living in most of his life in Spain. The South American general known as El Liberator, Samuel Bolivar, brought independence to 6 present-day nations and is considered one of the greatest military figures in South American history. The Republic of Bolivia was created in honor of his name. Cesar Chavez was an American labor leader, community organizer, businessman, and Latino American civil rights activist. His experience as a migrant farm worker since age 10 fueled his effort to help others achieve fair wages, medical coverage, pension benefits, other rights, and protections. Along with his wife, Dolores, he co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, which later merged into become the United Farm Workers Labor Union. Ponce de Leon was a Spanish explorer and conquistador known for leading the first official European expedition to Florida and served as the first governor of Puerto Rico. Julia Debargos was a Puerto Rican poet. As an advocate for Puerto Rican independence, she served as Secretary General of the Daughters of Freedom, a woman's branch of the Puerto Rican National Party. She was also a civil rights activist for women and African Afro-Caribbean writers. Dennis Chavez was a United States Senator. He fought for the rights of Hispanic residents and Native Americans in his home state of New Mexico. He served there for 27 years. He was a strong defender of civil rights, and he paved the way for sequential legislations. John J. Audubon was born in Santo Domingo, Haiti, to a French naval officer and his Spanish Creole mistress. His combined interest in art and ornithology turned into a plan to make a complete pictorial record of all the birds species of North America. Over the years, many stamps have been issued for John J. Audubon, including stamps that cover all other species of North America. Roberto Clemente was a baseball player from Puerto Rico. He played right field for 18 years in the Major League for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1973, becoming both the first Latin American and Caribbean player to be enshrined. He was not only a great baseball player, but a great humanitarian. He tragically died in a plane crash while attempting to deliver supplies to earthquake victims in Nicaragua on December 31st, 1972. John Philip Souza was born in Washington, D.C. At age 13, his father enlisted him in the U.S. Marine Band. John served with the Marine Band until his discharge in 1874. He returned as conductor in 1880 and continued there until he left to set his own touring band in 1893. In 1896, he composed the Star and Stripes Forever, an official march of the United States. Jose Pereira was not only a highly acclaimed actor, but director, writer, musician, and producer. He appeared in plays on Broadway, television, and several movies. He was the first Puerto Rican-born actor, as well as the first Hispanic actor to win an Academy Award. Felipe Ross was a Peruvian-American chef whose Spanish and Caribbean influence have impacted American cuisines. An assistant to James Beard, Greenwich Village Cooking School, he was a founding chef of Dean and DeLuca Gourmet Food Store. In 1976, he was named American Bicentennial Chef. Ruben Salazar was born in Mexico and raised in El Paso, Texas. He was the first Mexican-American reporter employed by the Los Angeles Times in 1955, and later the first to have regular column published in an American newspaper. Oscar de la Renta was a Dominican fashion designer, born in Santo Domingo on July 22nd, 1932. He became internationally known in the 60s as being a designer for dresses for Jacqueline Kennedy. Arturo Alfonso Schromburg was a historian, writer, and activist. Schromburg was a Puerto Rican of African and German descent who moved to the United States and researched and raised awareness of the great contribution that Afro-Latin American and Afro-American have made to society. Martin Ramirez was a self-taught artist who spent most of his adult life institutionalized in California mental hospital. He is considered by some to be one of the 20th century self-taught masters. Jaime Escalante was an educator who was born in Bolivia and came to the United States in the 1960s to seek a better life. He began teaching math to troubled students in a violent Los Angeles school and became famous for leading many of them to pass the advanced placement calculus test. He was played by Edward James Olmos in the 1988 film Stand and Deliver. Rosita is a turquoise bilingual monster who appeared on Sesame Street in 1991 on episode 2888. She hailed from Mexico. She is 5 years old and celebrates her birthday on December 7th. Richie Valance was born in California, in the area of Los Angeles where he lived his entire life. He learned to play guitar and joined the band in high school. He became the first Chicano rock and roll star. Latin music legends. The first one I want to speak about is Tito Printers, one of my idols. I played timbales back in the day as a kid. Born in New York of Puerto Rican parents, he was known as the king of Latin music. With his dynamic solos on timbales and orchestrated arrangement that have become classic in Latin music world. Tito helped bring Afro-Cuban and Caribbean sounds to the mainstream audience. He performed for more than 60 years, and his legacy includes more than 140 albums. Carmen Miranda was a Portuguese-born Brazilian samba singer, dancer, Broadway actress, and film star who was popular in the 1930s to 1950s, nicknamed the Brazilian bombshell. Miranda was noted for her significant fruit hat outfit she wore on her American films. She appeared in 14 Hollywood musicals and recorded over 300 songs. Selena was a Mexican-American singer, songwriter, spokesperson, model, actress, and fashion designer, referred to as the Queen of Tejano music. Her contribution to music and fashion made her one of the most celebrated Mexican-American entertainers of the late 20th century. Carlos Gadar was a French-Argentine singer, songwriter, composer, actor, and the most prominent figure in the history of tango. Gadar's baritone voice and dramatic phrasing of his lyrics made miniature masterpieces of his hundreds of 3-minute tango recordings. Celia Cruz was known as the Queen of Salsa, a dazzling performer of many types of Afro-Caribbean music. She had a powerful voice, joyful, charismatic personality that endeared her to fans from different nationalities across generations. Lydia Mendoza was an American guitarist and Spanish language singer of Tejano and Mexican American music. She performed the Spanish language music on the Texas-Mexican borderlines and beyond. Latin music is a genre of jazz with Latin American rhythms. The two main categories are Afro-Cuban jazz, rhythmically based on Cuban popular dance music, with rhythm section employing Afro-Brazilian jazz, which includes bossa nova and samba. Let's dance stamps are 4 different stamps representing 4 different dances with Latin origin. The first one is merengue, the official dance of Dominican Republic. The pace can increase dramatically before the dance ends. Salsa, primarily thought of as Cuban, salsa is a dance form distilled from many cultures: French, African, and Spanish. Cha-cha-cha, the triple step offshoot of Mambo, with its energetic yet rhythmic beat, was introduced in the 1950s. Mambo, another Latin dance of Cuban origin, its flashy steps, essentially slow rhythm, Cuban music, and American jazz. This stamp celebrates the 400th anniversary of the settlement of Florida. The permanent settlement in Florida was established by Pedro Mendoza in 1565, more than a half a century before the first permanent English settlement in Jamestown, Virginia. This makes St. Augustine the oldest European city in the United States. In 1586, Sir Francis Drake looted and burned the town down, but it was quickly rebuilt. The oldest surviving residence was built 1706. The first integrated school was St. Augustine School, which opened in 1787 and was free to all children of all races. Luis Munoz Moran was a Puerto Rican journalist, politician, statesman, and was the first elected governor of Puerto Rico in 1948. He's regarded as the architect of Puerto Rico Commonwealth. The stamp features a farmer holding a wheel in one hand and ballot in the other. Moran immediately began to push for Commonwealth status with the United States in an effort that was realized in 1952. In 1946, 8 years before the landmark Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education, Mexican American in Orange County, California, won a class action lawsuit to dismantle the segregation school system that exists there. 5 Mexican American fathers challenged this practice of school segregation in Orange County. They claimed it was that their children and some 5,000 others of Mexican ancestors had fallen victim to unconstitutional discrimination practice by forcing to attend segregated school. Cinco de Mayo, a day of great importance for Mexican and Mexican American communities. Cinco de Mayo marks the victory of the Mexican army over the French Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862. On that date, during the French occupation of Mexico, General Zaragoza and his troops were victorious over the greatest military power in the world at that time. In 1777, Spain founded its first civil settlement in Alta California, at what is now the city of San Jose. The civil settlement in Alta California had a profound influence on the development of the West Coast and the entire United States. Central and South American, Mexican, and Caribbean foods and flavors have impacted American cuisines for generations. Dishes such as tamales, flan, sancocho, empanada, chile eno, and ceviche all come from an array of Latin American culinary traditions that have found new life and variations in the United States. The next slide will show examples of some of my exhibits and presentations I've done for Hispanic Heritage Month. This exhibit was done a few years ago for the town of Perth Amboy as part of a special Hispanic Heritage Month program. It took me about 3 hours to set this wall up. This dancer did a special dance from Mexico. He danced with the lights off. He lit up. The next few slides are from my exhibit and presentation at the Senior Citizen Center in Passaic, New Jersey. This was my second time at this facility. I've done Hispanic History Month and Black History Month at these facilities. It was a pleasure going there to see the nice people because they hardly ever get someone to come to them to show them anything at all. They're very excited to learn about Hispanic history that day. Some of them had no idea about the history I was telling them. The next couple of slides are from my exhibit at Passaic after school program. I used to play in the back of this building back in the day as a child. A lot of the kids who were there, I knew their aunts and uncles and grandparents who was my age. It was nice going back there to share my presentation with them. Some of them had no idea how fun stamp collecting could be. They answered a lot of questions towards the end of my presentation. They're very cordial. I try to make sure when I do an exhibit for kids that they can actually look at something and have a description of what they're looking at. That way they learn something that day about that person, place, or thing. The next few slides are from exhibit I've done at Passaic County Community College. I was there about 4 years in a row. I did Hispanic History Month, Black History Month, and Women History Month. They had three different campuses. I was hired to go to all of them during that time period. Some I present. The next few slides, you're going to see some of my hand painted cachets from my collection representing Hispanic Heritage Month. check out Hispanic Heritage Month page on ESPA website. You will find 2 booklets that are downloadable. One's in Spanish, one's in English. You will also find a special word puzzle I created for Hispanic Heritage Month. So go to espastamps.org. And thank you today for listening to my first Zoom stamp chat.
All right. Thank you so much, Clarence. That was absolutely brilliant. And if you could just unmute yourself, friends, you can go ahead and use that Q&A box for your questions, and the chat for, of course, accolades are always fun to read, and I'm reading them right now. Clarence is getting awesome, brilliant presentation, excellent presentation. I know I learned so much during this video, during this presentation. Oscar de la Renta, I had no idea he was from the Dominican. And Ponce de Leon, that Francis Drake went over there, and just so much. Again, stamps teach. Clarence, are you on, hon?
I'm on, yeah, but it said I can't.
Okay.
It said cannot start video because
so if you
host
stop sharing your screen.
Stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Okay. And let's, thank you. Ask to start video. There we go. And we have some questions. Can you hear us, Clarence?
Yes.
While we wait for your video. There you go.
You.
Oh, that was magnificent. Truly beautiful. I know I learned so much, and as a humanities-oriented person, this was just my speed. We have some questions for you, Mr. Mcknight.
Okay.
This is a couple parts. It's important. Is it important to distinguish between Afro-Cuban and African-American in your collection, say Audubon, Clemente, or do we simply celebrate the African diaspora?
Basically celebrate the African diaspora. Basically, Afro-Cuban is like saying like black Cuban, basically what it's saying. African Cubans, what it means, because with slavery, a lot of slaves came over to Cuba back in the day. So Afro basically is a shortened word for African. So Afro-Cuban.
Another question we have, how long did it take to collect this information?
I've been doing this for years. So as I go along, I always try to write things down as I do my research, either on the computer or reading books or going through my lifetime as a kid and going and knowing different people. I always enjoyed learning about history. So that's always a thing to me from different cultures.
Another question, where do you get your frames? Do you build your own frames?
No,
Great
I'm not
presentation.
that good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm pretty good at building things, but I usually get my frames from what's that place called? It used to be AC Moore. I go to Michael's. I always try to find some on sale. Sometime I tell Charlene when they're on sale also too. But just have Michael's that area, and I buy a whole bunch of them sometimes. I did the big collection this year at the Montclair Library. I got some. I was lucky. I found some frames at a discount, 11 by 14. I mean, really cheap, for like $5. They had them on special, so I bought like maybe 20 of them. You know, for the future.
So when, it looked like you had, what did you have, three exhibits at the different community colleges?
Yes, no, basically the same one. Basically, they have 3 campuses, and they wanted to, because some areas of one of the campus is not as diverse as the other one, so they want to bring some different cultures up there. For example, Hispanic and Black history to that area, because there's not too many African American Hispanics that live in that area to go to that particular campus. So they want me to bring it there to educate some of the students there. And it was excellent though. I did like 4 years with them. They had me under contract.
Did you know? And this goes into Charlene Blair's "By Any Means Necessary," and this seems so part and parcel of Esper. You know, just exhibiting wherever you can, not just at shows. How did you find yourself at the community college? Did you have to bang on the doors, or did they give you a call?
No, actually, my nephew is an adjunct professor for the hospitality there, and he was telling me, he said, hey, Unc, you wanna, you know, because so what I was doing, he said you should bring it out to the school. I talked to somebody there, and he opened the doors for me. He opened the doors for me, my nephew. Thank you, James.
So, what was that?
I said, thank you, James. His name is James Allen.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. So he opened a couple doors, and what did he know? He say, like, my uncle, he really loves to exhibit stamps.
Right. You know, he has a huge collection. He's been doing it for years, and you know, he said to them, I think I will benefit from his presentation and exhibit. You know, it's fun thing about it. Each campus I went to had a different setup. I was supposed to have some tables at one time, some regular tables, breakfast table. I went to an area. This was another year, but I had the women history. It had tables from a boardroom. So I had to do that very differently. It came out very nice though. That was done for women history.
That's really incredible, and that's what I'm. You know, that's what I'm. It seems like you would impress upon people. You know, get in there with your collections. If you have a penchant for exhibiting, you know, any public space is a great space.
Right. You know, like I said, each area is very different. So I bring a lot of stuff with me, so I can adapt to any area I need. I bring easels. I bring my own projector. I bring my own screen. They don't have one, so I'm prepared all the way around.
What has been the reaction of people when they've seen this Hispanic heritage on stamps?
A lot of them didn't know about the history of it. It's funny. I went to one session at the in Passaic Community College, and this guy, I was telling about the first language that was spoken was Spanish. And he kind of challenged me on it. So I told him, I said, look it up on your phone. Oh, okay. I said, sir, one thing I always do, I try to research everything from A to Z before I talk about it. I don't want to go out there and not know what I'm talking about, you know. So I try to check myself out. And he was fine. He was nice then. But I had a lot of. I mean, the president of the college came a couple of times. I did the town of Mambo, the mayor was there, and that was excellent. I normally have more pictures from the one with the Hispanic, with the one on the wall with the guy in the silver. But a lot of kids were in the photos. I don't like to show kids, like this on that. And it was beautiful. They kept going to the wall and taking pictures of everybody. That's a nice picture. I think I sent it to them, Heidi. I sent them to you, but I just can't share them with everybody else because they're kids.
Yeah, it's remarkable how many images are on the stamp. So would you tell me about that story? Like, did you just start taking these stamps out of your own collection, or how was the origin story of that? Did you?
It's from my own collection, and I would take them. I take them out of the binders and put them in frames. When the exhibit's over, I would take them out the frame and put them back in the album.
We have a question. How long have you been doing presentations, Stamp Man?
I'd say about 25 years. 25 years I've been doing it. I've been collecting stamps for over 30 years, and I started doing presentations and from my son's kindergarten class. One day, I found some stamps about dinosaurs, and we're teaching my son about dinosaurs. So one day, the teacher asked a Christian, "How do you learn about dinosaurs?" He said, "My dad's stamp collection." And the first presentation was done when he was in kindergarten. I brought my dinosaur stamps there, Save the Earth stamps, all different types of stamps. George Washington, Carver, Amelia Earhart. I bought a little assortment of everything, and I showed it to them. And what I did was I took the cachets and I blew them up to like was 17 by 11, and I laminated them so they can touch them. And start from there. From there, I started a stamp club at the school that lasted 8 years, from pre-K to eighth grade. I had it in my stamp club.
And you're known around town as the stamp man.
Yeah. The kids would come up. I was in the had the club. The kids would see me with their parents somewhere around the town of Montclair, and they would say, "Mommy, that's a stamp man. That's a stamp man." I would say, "Thank you so much for helping him, for having the stamp club. He really enjoys it. He's learning a lot from it." And a lot of kids did their book reports based on the stamps that they have collected, things like that. But I took them to stamp shows. We did cachets. We did show and tell before each meeting. So I made it like a whole learning experience, from geography to history, all different stuff like that. And I'm not a teacher.
But you are in spirit. There's no doubt about that. Tell us more about your cachets. Are they one artist or
I have Belvo.
Different cachets.
Yeah, Belvo. I have Doris Gold. I have Fred Collins. I have, oh my goodness, a few other people I have. I can't think of them offhand, but I got quite a few different ones that I look at, and I try to collect. I try to collect all the hand painted now, because I got so many of the other ones. I want to specialize in hand painted right now, and I find them all over the place. But I thought in my presentation I showed like maybe like 4 or 5 different ones. So instead of trying to put one person on there as the cachet design, I put like 4 or 5 different ones on there. But one of my favorite is Bevel and Fred Collins and Doris Gold. So my favorite ones.
What are the comments that you hear when you put on these exhibits? I would imagine that, here I work at the APS. I'm surrounded by millions of stamps, and yet tonight I saw stamps that I had never seen before. What are people's reactions when they see these Hispanic Americans on stamps?
You just say, I had no idea they had a stamp for this person. Well, I know about this type of person, this person history, or this first language in America was Spanish, not English. Well, I didn't know about Amelia Earhart. Well, like Selena was on the stamp. Tito Printers was on the stamp. They had no idea, because they're not collectors, and people don't use stamps as much as they used 2 years ago. So when they see that, they kind of like, wow. And sometimes I take them, I make posters, blow them up so they can really see it much better. But mostly my stuff is on the PowerPoint on the screen. And usually before a show, I would show the cachets in the slide format before the show starts.
We've had different discussions on Stamp Chat about the semiotics of stamps, so meaning the cultural meanings. So, you imagine that these stamps are, government sanctioned pieces of art, and some could say propaganda, and that's pretty remarkable. If you saw America, the United States, through postage stamps, the diversity that
it is
that we are, and the celebration of it.
That's why I collect that way. Children's stuff. I try to show things that people may not know about, and let people know that you appreciate your culture. But a lot of Spaniards and don't know the history that they have contributed to this country. And I went to the safe a lot of kids there said we didn't know that. We had no idea. I said, take pride in who you are, and you learn your history. I said, very important. I said, if you know where you came from, you know where you can go, and that way you have more respect for your fellow man. You know.
Is that what got you, like, what got you into collecting, Clarence? It sounds like right off the bat you were into Stamps Teach, this idea of
No,
Stamps Teach.
probably collecting. Matter of fact, my son's godmother was telling my wife and I that there's a stamp coming out for the Statue of Liberty. I forgot what year it was, and she said they're gonna have a ceremony, at the post office in Montclair. I said, okay, I'll go there. And me, I always like history, so then I started reading about Statue of Liberty and things like that. Because I didn't learn that much in school about it, the history of it. And so with that, I said, oh wow, I could learn from this. Then I saw I spoke to, I think I went to a stamp show and I met Manny Gilliard, the late Manny Gilliard, and he got me involved with Esper, and there was Eugene Robinson and James Daniels. And those people got me involved in Esper, got me involved in expanding my mind even more. So they said, think about this person and that person and that person. I said, no. And so from there, my interest, I just went with it from there.
And tonight's today's a special day for Esper, isn't it? Mr.
Yes, today's
Mcknight?
Esper Hayes' birthday. She died in 2019. A few months after 30th anniversary. She was an awesome lady. She was like a second mother to me. When my mother passed away some years ago, and she's lived in New Jersey before she moved down to North Carolina. So we spent a lot of time together, going over Esper. And she pushed me into doing certain things that made me a better person. She pushed me into doing the newsletter, pushed me being a board member, and stuff like that. So basically she was excellent.
Yeah, her spirit definitely lives on within the Esper community. That's esperstamps.org, friends, for anyone who is interested. We have a couple more comments for you, Mr. Mcknight from Foster Miller of the American First Aid Cover Society. Clarence, you're also the star of Kendall Bevel's website. You have the most recent comment in his chat area. He's going to send you one of the Let's Dance covers he did for the USPS.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Bevel's all right. I mean, he's excellent. He's excellent. I mean, he always actually he helped. He did the banner for the website.
Oh.
For
Esper.
Yes, for the website, doing the banner for the website. Yeah, he said, I'll take care of this for you. And he also give Esper a sample to raffle. I mean, to auction off for when we have a auction. He always, when we make a cachet that represent African American, he always make a special one for Esper, one of a kind.
Well, that's how you guys, that's how your organization runs. You're definitely, you're always helping each other. We have a friend who's interested in knowing who introduced you to stamp collecting.
My son's godmother. When we first saw the stamp, the stamp for the Statue of Liberty, I just went off from there. I found out when I realized that it could teach you something, was the learning tool for me, because back in school, we didn't have too much Black history when I was in school, or Hispanic history back in school, or women history back in school. So all three of those categories was very low key back in the day. And so I was able to learn about a lot of different people. I mean, I know about Amelia Earhart that much. I mean, people before my time. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about Madam C.J. Walker. I didn't know about her either, not at all, until I started collecting stamps.
Isn't that, I mean, we have one more question, but isn't that interesting that, these are government issued documents, they've been given the signature, and yet how little actually percolates down into the school system. So it's Thank goodness for stamps.
Yeah, you know, it's
They're like
just,
miniature textbooks.
yeah, it's funny because I went to quite a few different schools, and the teachers there, and I always give them a booklet. I always bring a booklet that they could print out, coloring book for the kids, and I try to make sure that the kids have fun. I don't go there dressed in a suit like a normal.
Can you start that again, hon?
I said normally when I go to school, I don't go dressed in a suit. I dress casual, so they won't feel intimidated of authority figures coming to them, and that way I can really, they could really feel comfortable with me when I first come in. And I run around in there with little kids. I try to go walk throughout the classroom as I'm speaking and showing stuff like that.
And thank you so much, Esper. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around while we dealt with those technical difficulties. Thank you. I guess with that question, with that pause, we will conclude our stamp chat. We thank you for your attendance and ask that you join us in thanking Mr. Clarence Mcknight. Learn more about Esper, the Ebony Society of Philatelic Events and Reflections. Visit esperstamps.org. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Truly one of the most powerful, enthusiastic, and passionate philatelic organizations out there. Today's Stamp Chat was sponsored by the APS Membership Department. Becoming an APS member is easy. Visit stamps.org and apply online, and you'll have access to the American Philatelist, Classroom C3A, to the American Philatelic Research Library, and so much more. Be a part of the 2020 challenge and enter into receiving a lifetime membership, a $750 value to the APS. Connect, collect, join the APS, stamps.org, and become a member today. And remember that esperstamps.org is an affiliate of the APS. So we all work together. For more stamp chats, visit and subscribe to the APS YouTube channel, where you can find nearly 70 presentations. Use the comment box below to keep the video, to keep the conversation going. We do monitor it, and we send those questions and inquiries over to our presenters. So for example, tonight's will go over to Mr. Mcknight. Have an idea for a stamp chat? Email me, Heidi@stamps.org, and use stamp chat in the subject. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next stamp chat. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again, everyone, for your patience, your love, and Clarence, keep up the great work. However we can assist you, and Esper, by any means possible. Thank you, Charlene Blair, for that. So thanks, everybody. Good night. We'll see you.
Good night. Take care, everybody. And thanks for checking out my first stamp chat. Take care.
Way to go, Clarence. The first of many. Okay. Bye, friends. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month and National Stamp Collecting Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.